Hi, welcome to Foreigner in the Philippines. I'm just hanging around today waiting for the morning. We were hoped that our truck would be ready last night. I went into Taliban and found out that it wasn't. So back home again, here I am, and we've got the morning to ourselves and we're supposed to be going down to pick up the truck. Well, I'm supposed to go down, pick up the truck about 1 o'clock. Well, I thought I'd look at one of the what is becoming an increasingly common request on our channel, which is really not anything to do with what we do. We don't hook people up with other people. We're not a dating site, and I've said this before, but apparently it is such an issue for people that what's happening is that they're still mainly, should I say mainly women? Probably, if anything, it's more women than it is men. Okay, so from that point of view, yes, probably more women, and they're out there. A lot of them, surprisingly, are OFWs, overseas Filipino workers, and they're looking. These are sincere women, Filipinos, who are looking for their, well, it's become known now as forever. For happy forever after is, I guess, is where that word is stolen from. So what can we tell you about how to find somebody? Boy, it's not like it took me very long. With me, finding Beth the right person didn't take very long at all. I think I was 73 or 74 when I found Beth, so it's really easy. It'll take no time at all. I'm being facetious, of course. It's not an easy task, and you can actually take a leaf out of the page of California. In California, they tend to be very innovative about all things. There's so many of the improvements that have come to the world generally have come from California, be it cars, be it how to build a safe house, be it toxic materials that are being used all the time in the products that we buy. It's very difficult now to buy lacquer in California. It's very difficult to buy, you can't buy leaded paint. You can't buy any leaded products in the state of California. So California has spearheaded many things, and a lot of them before they get watered down to being common sense, can seem really wacky. I don't know whether you've read anything about the speed dating, 10 minutes. What they do is they pack a bunch of people, equal men, equal women, pack them into a big hall with lots of tables where two people can sit down together and talk, and they do speed dating. And when that happens, what occurs at the table between those two people is a good lesson for us all, because when you know that you've only got 10 minutes to talk to someone, or it might even be less than that, it might be 5 minutes, you get right to the point. And because you're getting right to the point and both of you have the same purpose, then the chances are that you might actually hit it off with somebody, because you'll find the questions which get right to it. So, for instance, oversimplifying, I know, because this is an obvious thing, but if you're religious and you're deeply into that, you may want to know what religion the person is, and if they say that they are Buddhist and you are, say, Roman Catholic, that may be a deal breaker. So after that, you can make a change. If you find a deal breaker very early in the conversation, and early in that conversation might be 2 or 3 minutes, and then you find that, I don't know, if you were religious and the guy was an atheist, that might be a deal breaker. If you find that he's very much into violence, maybe he's a drinker and you're a non-drinker. Maybe he's had a drug history and you're not prepared to take that risk. There's a lot of things that can be found out very quickly if you start off on the premise that we're going to do this and we're going to find all of the various qualities quickly. So, what are you good at? What do you like? What do you love? What do you do with your day? And it all comes quick fire. In fact, probably a little bit like Nanai's machine gunning. Now, how can we take something from this, for what would be to a lot of people this madness, and put it to use in everyday life? Well, if you're going to be involved in any way with a person, then it is best to find out some of the basic qualities and beliefs. Because if you really don't believe in the same things as the person that you are making friends with, in the hope of becoming close friends, and if it's the opposite sex, even more, then it's best to get some of these basic fundamental beliefs out of the way, or agreed upon, and then move on. So, if you can weed out a liar, then that's a definite move on. Weed out a liar. If you can weed out someone who believes in more than one girlfriend at the time, who was looking for a so-called open relationship, then that for me would be a deal breaker, or would have been before I met Beth. In fact, when Beth and I met, after 7 or 8 hours of straight talking together, we actually committed not to see anybody else. So we said, as far as this relationship goes, and me to you, you to me, we're not going to muddy the water by seeing anybody else. Now, in that case, why would you do that? Well, if you see other people and it progresses slightly out of control, I don't know, you might end up spending a weekend with the person and then realize that this really isn't what you were hoping for, or what you expected, or you've done something that you regret. Whoever you are, whatever you are, male or female, then when you come back to the relationship, in the case of Beth and I, that you committed to, it's going to be very difficult to talk about this, because you've done something which you know is not going to sit very well with this person that you've now decided to spend your life with, or hope to. So that was certainly my reasoning, is that it's better to be committed to the relationship as early as possible, so that you don't have some difficult heart-to-heart talks where you've got to confess that you did this and that and the other. And as we've talked about in other letters that we've dealt with in the advice series, where someone's done something and then later they've married, and then it kind of comes up and it's like a ghost. Well, those ghosts are going to be there forever, and they have to be dealt with. And it's much easier to deal with things right at the beginning than it is later in the relationship. But I've digressed as usual, and I've gotten off the point, well, slightly off the point of how do you find someone here. We can't, as a channel, Beth and I, we cannot hook anybody up with I can't make a recommendation to someone about someone that I don't know. In honesty, I can't do that. I can't say, hey, she's a wonderful gal, or hey, he's a wonderful guy, because we don't know the people. Now, when they've been and stayed with us, that would be a different thing. Maybe we would be able to make a recommendation on that. But in the meantime, it seems to me that one thing that you can do, I notice that in the ID photo, if you want to make an immediate impact, instead of posting an ID, a profile picture of yourself that glamorizes you and makes you look wonderful, you know, somebody may have told you that excuse me, somebody may have told you that you look like some movie star. So what do? You then find the photograph of yourself that makes you look mostly like that movie star, and you put that one up, and in fact that was just a good luck shot. So my recommendation is put a photograph up of yourself as you really are, and make sure that when someone clicks on that photograph, it takes them to a Facebook page that has pictures of you which are real. In other words, not glamorized shots. Now, in honesty, every one of us will pick out a picture from 4 or 5 which we look the best in. That's human nature, you know. No one, well, except you and me, yes, okay, just you and me on this, would never do anything like that, would we? But the rest, those other mere mortals who are prepared to lie in some slight way, may pick a photo which is glamorizing of them. So my suggestion is that indirectly you could find someone through our site. But the way to do it, as I've said before, is to make comments. Make honest comments which reflect your values. So that when someone looks at that comment and they look at your picture, which is real, just a snapshot picture, then they might say, I'd like to talk to this person. Then they can click on your picture, which, you know, when we try it, it usually takes you through to a Facebook page. And that Facebook page is very revealing. Now, we use it almost in a positive to negative way. If we get a comment that's made that seems like it might be just misinterpreted, then we click on the picture and it takes us to a Facebook page. Now, if it takes us to a Facebook page where there's nothing there, then we delete and block that person. That seems the obvious thing. So back to the 10-minute, these things all hook up together. You can learn lessons from almost everything that's presented to you on a daily basis. Now, if you're employing the psycho-cybernetics or autopilot information, if you're using that, then coming to this site and asking for help might be your first go. That might be your first move. Okay, well, now you're getting your second move, and that is to put up a photograph which reflects how you really look, not one that was taken 10 years ago. We've all got those pictures, and it's nice to post those now and then and have everybody say, whoa, you were quite a looker back then, if you were, that is. So a realistic picture, comments which reflect your true values. And the other thing is, if everybody was doing the same, look at the picture that is presented by the person you think you might be interested in. Click on it, go and have a look, see if that person seems like someone who has the same kind of values. How can you do that? Well, if you're a family person, if you're a family-oriented person with grown children or even young to grown, and the emphasis is on family values, and if you're looking at a photograph of someone who looks very attractive in your eyes, you go to their profile, you go to their Facebook page, and you're looking at what their life is about. And if you're family oriented and this shows you someone who seems to have a lot of pictures of someone who spends a lot of time in a bar, well, I'm thinking that probably is not the right one for you. Alternately, if you are a person that likes to spend a lot of time in a bar, and you go to the site of someone that you think is attractive, and where the versa is vice, or the vice versa, and you see someone who is always in church, that person probably isn't for you either. And then if I could give you loads of examples. If you find someone who's an athlete and you like to watch TV, then probably he or she is not for you either. So you can find out a lot by being on a site, placing comments, putting a realistic picture up of yourself, and then following the comments as they move along. Have a look at the kind of video that the person that you have your eye on likes to watch. Now, what we're trying to do with our site is it's a given that we want feel-good things. So if we get someone and they keep making jokes that are a bit near the mark, eventually those kinds of comments will be deleted, and if it gets even worse, then we'll just block that person. So we look at the comments and we try to get a take on what the person is like. So do the same, follow that model, and yes, by all means you can put a comment rather than a personal message. You can put a comment that says, my Facebook page is this, or whatever. But first of all, before you do that, have a look and see what kind of comments are coming up and the kind of person that those comments indicate. That's what I suggest. And for those who write to me and say, I'm 38 years old and I'm widowed or divorced or this or that, and I really would like to meet someone that's good and genuine and honest and all of that. I'm sorry if I can't help you. I really wish I had a magic wand that would pinpoint you to exactly the right person. But take a leaf out of the 10-minute dating in California, and when somebody gets in touch with you or you get in touch with them, either ask questions that indicate the character of that person, or say things which indicate your character. Initially, you shouldn't be worried about whether you're going to put somebody off, because if you put somebody off, they were never meant for you. If you put on there that you go to church every Sunday, and somebody doesn't do that, they're not into religion, and think not only that, but think it's funny, they're not for you. You know. On the other hand, if you find someone who's extremely spiritual and into, say, the Buddhist religion, and you are too, boy, you may have hit the jackpot. So, I hope it helps. I regret that I cannot help, Beth and I cannot help, unless we actually know somebody. If we know somebody, even if it is through a long association of comments and personal messages, we invite people to come and stay with us so that they can see for themselves what we do. And in that way, we get to know people. But usually, the people that we bonded with the best have been communicating even before they come and stay. They don't have to write a book every time they communicate, but it does help to know what kind of values they have before we invite them into our home. And that's what we do. When people come and stay here, we invite them into our home. Now, before you invite people into your home, which is here and here, make sure that they're the kind of people that you want to stay. That you want them to stay. Do they find joy in the same things as you? Are they touched by the same things as you? Are they even outraged at the same things as you? And if they are, you're in with a chance. Good luck on finding someone. I really wish you luck. Anybody who is out there looking for someone to share a life with has my sympathy and my good thoughts and good wishes. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Please like, comment, and especially subscribe. And we hope that you will. Come on, get off the fence and subscribe. That means that you are at the very beginning of supporting us as a channel, and we ask no more of you than that. Subscribe. Bye for now. This is a foreigner in the Philippines.